This is another scene setter because it has been an interesting cycle in the world of rugby. Our cycle now around a 4-yearly event, or every 4 years event. And this one has been distinctive. You should know that I come out of Aotearoa, New Zealand, and so that's my first point of reference. And so I titled this video, I've got it down here just so I get it right, 4 years of pain, 2 weeks to peak for Rugby World Cup 2023 glory. See, it's very different. This is a very different cycle for New Zealand and for the All Blacks. I'm getting a bit of reflection there off the screen because the sun is shining in New Zealand. Generally speaking, the All Blacks go into a Rugby World Cup, and if they're not the favourites, they are one of the favourites. And that was looking okay until Twickenham, and people began to get, we've also know these 4 years. But it's also been a different 4 years because of COVID, and that changed the rugby landscape. It changed the rugby landscape in the South when South Africa, for whatever reason, departed the scene in Super Rugby, and it changed how our rugby was formed. North and South strengthened through the United Rugby Championship, and that has impacted how people now integrate, connect, perceive, talk about, understand. The All Blacks had 4 tough years. That's why I said 4 years of pain, because it has been the toughest 4 years, probably any of the 4-year cycles, when you look through a Rugby World Cup lens. 91, we were still strong, even though it was creaking at the end. 95, well, yeah, there had been some tougher years because the Wallabies were strong, but 95 looked strong, and there was the Jonah. 99, we had been strong, even though there was, again, that creaking. But there's always been creaking in a bit leading into World Cup. It's a misnomer to think that the All Blacks are somehow so dominant they don't lose test matches before a Rugby World Cup. You look back, and they have. 2003 we were strong. 2007 we were strong. 2011 we were at home. 2015 we were strong. 2019 we were strong. And then 2023 we've looked back and we've had these historic losses. Series loss to our opponent in the quarterfinal. We'll talk more about that and how we should view that and understand that. And so this period here, starting in the quarterfinals, it's very different, the mindset. Like, I think that stood out to me. I've been, if I can say, impressed with what I've viewed with how the All Blacks have messaged through the media. How they've talked and how they've spoken and how they've framed it has actually got me pretty excited, because previously, and this is, I think, keying into the mindset, previously the All Blacks have been up this height. So pressure. This one it's been failure. And it cost the assistants. It got pretty dark in the rugby world in Aotearoa. It got pretty tough for Foster. So they've had to come through that. So that shapes it. So these 2 weeks, basically 2 weeks, 3 games in 2 weeks, is a different viewpoint for an All Blacks team. It's actually an opportunity to redeem what has been, which is often the similar, you could say, a similar mindset or ethical ethos for a lot of nations who are just trying to build towards that peak. No, the All Blacks don't build towards a peak. They must stay on top of the peak. And that changes how they view, that changes the experience of Rugby World Cup knockout time. Now they have an opportunity. The 4 years that have been, all the things that have gone on, the All Blacks won 3 matches in a row and they changed the narrative. What does that do to a person internally? What does it do to their psychology? Well, I think it has a huge impact. And I think we're seeing that. The All Blacks know. They also had the series recently with Ireland, so we'll contextualise the quarterfinal with their thinking there. So they know. They know they can do something here. They've got plenty of fodder stoking their fire, plenty of motivation. Not only larger legacy of the All Blacks, but also directly with Ireland. Kiwi connection there doesn't dissipate, maybe even further inflame. So much there. I think that's what is happening at the All Blacks now, is there's that excitement that they can do something about it. And players coming back, players finding fitness. You sense that the moment is coming together. We will talk more about that. However, that's not just the All Blacks. Look at Wales and what they've been through. Warren came in, and there was consternation from some, celebration from others, but it wasn't all one way. And yet, what he's been able to produce with his troops through round robin pool play has been significant. Argentina haven't been as strong, but they're an opportunity for two side burgeoning. England and Fiji. Well, England have been a horror show leading into the Rugby World Cup. I don't think that's overstating it. And yet they have an opportunity against Fiji, who were able to take them down, on good old Twickers. And yet Fiji looked a bit nervous in that last match, but this one here, this contest here, I think the nerves, or maybe just the moment, which may have impacted them versus Portugal, will release them in the quarterfinal. They're a nation and an opportunity. They know they can win. So I think that will encourage. And then finally, France v South Africa, the defending champion South Africa, a side that knows what they're doing, a side that has Pollard and Arm potentially back for them, if they want. And France, Napoleon Dynamite, 3 weeks? 3 weeks. Who's the doctor signing off on that? Would you sign off? What do you think they're going to get? What do you think the French are going to expect from the box? Not the light touch. That's not how Springboks play their rugby. You know the forwards are going to be going, right, we're just going to go through contact like 1,000 miles an hour, and whatever's in the way will be obliterated. The man in the iron mask, it will be the best player in the world through most people's eyes. He's back. Is he back? Well, do you expect him not to be named? I don't. I expect him to be named and to lead. Home side, the pressure on, the expectation, the opportunity. If France were playing someone else, well, if it'd been Fiji or Argentina or Wales, would he have been named against those teams or those nations? Well, he hasn't been named yet. However, I think that's what's going to transpire. So, all these nations, it's not just New Zealand. Ireland, a pressure, the run through. Number one, raise their game. But can you hear the echoes in the background? The ghosts of quarterfinal play? The man who was part of lifting them up now wants to tear them down. I mean, there's so many things we can talk about here. But from an All Blacks, from a New Zealand perspective, it's been 4 years of pain. But they know there's 2 weeks they need to peak. And if they know and they can peak for 2 weeks, 3 games, 3 test matches, and they win Rugby World Cup, then everything changes. So it's fascinating, isn't it? Not only from the rugby perspective, not only from what we will see, but also from the human drama and how world-shifting, shape-shifting, cultural-shifting narratives will be impacted by what transpires, by what unfolds on the fields of France. Well, it's not a world war, but it is in rugby terms. And there's a lot of North v South, isn't there? In fact, it's all North v South. So there's another layer, another part of the piece, or another part of the piece, another piece of the puzzle, another part of the narrative, another angle to reflect on. People talk about the North ascending, the North being where rugby is powerful. Well, maybe the quarterfinals will say something. A lot to look forward to. What quarterfinal are you looking forward to the most? I don't think it takes a rugby intellect of the highest proportions to say that the Ireland, New Zealand, France, South Africa quarterfinals are the ones that, I mean, they could be semi-finals. Each of those could be the final. And we have them at this point. So, a lot to talk about, a lot to reflect upon. I'm going to talk about the officials in the next video. So I'll stop it here, but do share, do like, do comment, do share, do subscribe. Let's do this together. Not long to go before the Rugby World Cup war is won in the year of 2023. What say you? I am Johnny King from a summery and warm middle New Zealand. I'm feeling it with my pink, my baby pink, get that right, baby pink scarf on. It's starting to get warmed up. So maybe time to put a window down. Let the breeze blow through. Enough from me. I want to hear from you. Until next time, I'm Johnny King.